Hi, it's Juliet here in the Healing Gardens, and yeah, I did a video yesterday, and it was so nice to come down to the gardens that today, when I woke up and the sun was shining, I thought it'd be really lovely to come down again. But I made a commitment to myself that I had to stay and do some tasks before I could come out. So I'm really grateful now that at last I've managed to get down here. And it's just a lovely day. It's just a really, really gorgeous day. And I had to put my coat on because there is a bit of a cold wind. So just been sitting here, listening to the birds. I don't know if you can hear that. So as soon as I come out and I'm down in the gardens, it's like my nervous system just begins to just settle. I feel a lot calmer, a lot more spacious, and there have been times in the last few months when I have felt anxious, overwhelmed, stressed, and as the months have got colder and darker as we've moved into winter, then that gets worse because it's so hard to do the things that I love doing, coming out and gardening and just being in the house. I don't get such an opportunity just to commune with nature, just to sit and relax. So I'm really feeling the benefit today of being able to come out. So I'd really recommend, if you've got a garden, to get out into the garden and just do something nice. There's still loads of things you can do at this time of year. And if you don't have a garden, then maybe there's somewhere else out in nature that you can go to. Here in Glastonbury, we're really lucky because we've got all the nature reserves around, and it's lovely to go out and see the wild birds as well, which I often do. And I've done a few videos recently of starlings, and it's been dark and grey at the end of the day because that's when the starlings do their thing. But I think this is the sunniest day that, apart from yesterday, it's the sunniest for ages, and here we are in the middle of December. Yeah, it's almost mid-December, isn't it? And there's only another week or so before we get to the 21st. And although the year has been really intense with some really heavy stuff going on, I don't know what's been happening for you, but I know for me there's been lots of challenges. I've been working with people who've been really challenged in different ways, and it's hard to know what's happening, what's the best thing to do, how to tackle some of the really stressful things that are going on in our lives. But we're promised December the 21st, the solstice, that there's going to be a big turnaround. Maybe it won't happen immediately, but there's a shift. Astrologically, there's a huge shift. And I think Saturn and Jupiter, there's a conjunction happening, which is very significant. And when they have this conjunction, they're going to look like one big star, although they're two planets, and it's going to look a bit like the Nativity star did. And a massive influx of light onto the planet at that time. Well, whether that's true or not, I'm not personally an astrologer, and I'm open to those things, but it's still a supportive idea, isn't it? When things seem endless and like there's never going to be a way out of a situation. It's nice to think that we're coming up to a time, the 21st of December, when we're promised this big shift, this big planetary shift. That's a big magpie flying across the garden with the black and white wings, just settling into a fruit tree up there. Yeah, it's wonderful that we're promised this shift, whether that happens or not. But what we do know is that December the 21st is definitely a turning point, that's the shortest day and the longest night, and things begin to open up again, and we have a little bit more daylight left. And I love the light, I love daylight, I can't bear being in darkness. So I thought I could give you a little look around the gardens. It's still lovely down here, there's lots of plants growing, still. We've had a few frosts, but not enough to completely obliterate everything. And we've got some overwintering plants. And I'm really hoping that we can get the money together for the polytunnel. We're in the last 3 days of our fundraiser, and it's match funding from the American organisation that supports community gardens. So the more that we can raise, then the more match funding that we can get from them. So if you'd like to support the gardens, and with this aim of the polytunnel, which is going to make such a difference down here, that we can come and do gardening even when it's raining or cold and wet. We can still sow all our seeds, we can still tend plants in the polytunnel, we can grow things in the polytunnel over winter that would suffer if they're outside. So that guarantees a continuity of food, doesn't it, if you can carry on growing it. And what with Brexit and all the COVID stuff that's going on, who knows what's going to happen to our infrastructure, to the shops, to the, our supply chains. It just makes good sense. There's a flock of it's pigeons going over. It just seems to make good sense to me to ensure, if we can, food resiliency. So we've grown a significant amount of food in the gardens this year, and I know for certain that I'm not going to be starving, and anyone that I'm connected to are not going to be starving. Hopefully no one's going to be starving, but I've got a good supply of food here. We've got lots of potatoes and onions and pumpkins and cabbage and all sorts of things that I've dried and pickled and made jams and chutneys. So we've got a really good supply, and lots of greens in the garden. So unless we have absolutely the harshest of winters, we'll at least have some greens down here. So let me show you round. Let me give you a little tour, and you can still see the beauty of the garden. So I'm going to flip the camera, and let me see, what can you see there? Straight ahead of you. So this is Earth Circle. So straight ahead, now that the leaves have come off the trees, can you see Glastonbury Tor? So we're completely in alignment with Glastonbury Tor up there, and this is Earth Circle. So now we've got lots of kale growing. We've been harvesting it quite a lot, and we've got some late winter cabbages that I netted yesterday. Gosh, it's quite a cold wind actually. And what else have we got? Well, there's lots of tidying that needs to be done down here, so we've got cabbages under the bottles as well. I've got to put the bean poles away, and we've got more cabbages. This is what I was doing yesterday, netting. This is broccoli. We've had quite a lot of broccoli off these plants, so I was just tidying them up yesterday, so that more will come. And down here you see all the new growth. When there's a big frost now, most of this will go, but this is all rocket. Lots of rocket here, and we've still got onions growing. I've harvested quite a lot of onions, but those are still growing. And more broccoli plants. And now we've got these wild leek plants coming up in lots of places. So they're a really good substitute for onions. You see the frost is beginning to kill off all the rucola. We have leeks. We've got several beds of leeks. And we've been busy up there pruning all the fruit trees, all the apple trees, plums. We've had such a fantastic crop this year. That's all been pruned. And here we have got celery. This is a huge amount of celery. I've been dehydrating it, and I'm thinking of making celery salt as well. We've got more cabbages under the nets here. And here we've got onions coming up. These have been planted about 3 weeks ago. See that baby onions coming up. And over there, broad beans. We've been busy planting on these beds. More broad beans over there. That's all planted with broad beans. And here we have Cavallera kale. We've picked that quite heavily. Black Nero kale. And this is where we harvested lots of pumpkins. And over there, those sticks, that's all Jerusalem artichokes underneath there. So that's a wonderful crop as well. And that's all the horseradish there that's died down. So there's tons to do it here at the moment. Lots of tidying up after all the summer crops. Under these bottles we've got lots of, we've got lettuce, young lettuce plants. And all young lettuce plants and rocket. Still got some lovely marjoram. And those are all fruit bushes, raspberry canes, etc. And of course all the artichoke plants are still growing, but no artichokes now. They're going to die back. And this is these are the wild leeks that are coming up. Oh, and I wanted to show you something else very interesting. So it's another kind of wild leek over here. It's so fascinating. If anybody knows what these are called exactly, I'd be really grateful. So I showed you this earlier in the year when they were flowering. So this is now the seeds. Well, they're not seeds, they're little bulbs. Do you see that? The little bulbs on the top. Well, what they do, if you come here, after a while the stem bends and it starts to reach down. Can you see the little bulb on the bottom? It starts to reach down, and here you are, there's lots of them. This is amazing. You see that little bulb reaching down? They get lower and lower to the ground, and then they fall on the ground, and you see now they're planting themselves and they're growing into new ones. They're new wild leeks, and they're quite a sizable plant. And here they are. These are bigger ones, and you can harvest them. They get like a couple of inches across. There's a wild leek plant in the spring. So I think nature is completely magic. And this here, this is horseradish. So we've got a big patch of horseradish here. It's all died back, but we can dig up the roots to make horseradish sauce and to make horseradish medicine. And here is rhubarb. So it's all died back, but there's new rhubarb shoots coming up through. Anyway, I have to cover that. and we've got dozens and dozens of self-seeded parsnips. We've been picking such enormous parsnips down here. Of course I can't show you how big they are because they're all underground, but different places. Over here we've dug up a lot of parsnips. So anyway, that's me showing you a little of the gardens. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll post this. And if you want to become a member of the Healing Gardens, if you live in the area, live in Glastonbury area, and you'd like to be a member, it's really simple to join. Just contact me. My email address, juliet@gardens.co.uk, and sorry, I'll put the link underneath. And it's £2.50 a month, and whenever you come down to the gardens you can take away produce. You can spend an hour or so in the gardens and have a bag full of produce to take away. Isn't that wonderful? It's a really great deal, I think. So lots of love to you, and speak to you soon. Okay, bye for now. Bye. Bye.